Welcome, friends. Welcome to Bharat Marg. Vinay Ji, thank you for joining us again. Welcome. And we will be discussing today, friends, regarding asylum for Palestinian refugees. Canada is going to open the door. We will discuss about it. And because the Arab worlds are closing the door, Vinay Ji, we will ask more questions to Vinay Ji on it. We are hearing Egypt has already put security guards everywhere to make sure no Palestinian enters, and so do the Arab countries in the surroundings. They want to make sure no Palestinian enters because they are very, very scared that if they come in, they won't go. But the Canadian PM will show his big heart by accepting them inside in Canada. Okay, let's discuss with the political analyst Vinay Ji as he exposes the plan for refugees and deals of PM Justin Trudeau. And before going further, friends, please make sure to like the video, comment on the video, share the video as much as you can. Friends, also, if you didn't, please subscribe to our channel Bharat Marg and press the notification bell so that you can get notified as we go live, along with the heading for you to join and ask any questions and become the part of the conversation. Also, we send out one dharmic message every day. Now you can get it by sending a WhatsApp to +16479644790 and get our dharmic message by WhatsApp, and you and your family can be connected to the roots of Sanatan Dharma, no matter where you are in the world. Vinay Ji, welcome. Welcome. Congratulations to you. I'm hearing Justin Trudeau, the Canadian PM, may open the doors for the Palestinian refugees. And he's under tremendous pressure by the lobby, okay, to announce it soon. And because none of the Arab countries are opening the door, they are in fact putting the security guard with guns to make sure these Palestinian refugees are chased out. Yeah.
Right.
Welcome, Vinay Ji.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. Basically, Egypt has basically refused to allow Palestinians to seek refuge in Egypt. Egyptian president said that this is going to hurt their economy, and it will pose significant political and security risks to the country. So as a result, they have deployed a huge number of troops along the border to make sure that there is no illegal entry of any Palestinians or Hamas terrorists or whatever. So now the other countries that are around Palestine, but like Jordan and Lebanon, and those countries have not really voiced anything yet, but it may soon happen. So also keep in mind that coming to your point about Canada offering refuge, keep in mind that when the Syrian war happened, when Syrians were in major crisis, a lot of Syrians were actually evacuated from Syria and brought into Canada as refugees. And in fact, Canada sent a whole bunch of airplanes to kind of pick up these refugees from Syria and bring them into Canada. And now after about a year and a half, or 2 years almost, or more.
And they were kept in the 5-star hotel?
Yeah. When they came in, they were, the thing was they didn't have the infrastructure. Canada didn't have the infrastructure to host so many refugees, because in the past, the refugees, any country for that matter, right? There's a certain percentage of immigrants that come to Canada or any country, for example. So let's say a country, I'm just going to pick a country arbitrarily. Let's say France brings in about or allows about 100,000 immigrants a year. This is hypothetical. Okay, this is an example. It's not the real numbers. I'm just giving you an example. So let's say France brings in 100,000 immigrants every year, or allows 100,000 immigrants every year through their immigration process or their point system. I'm not exactly sure how it works in France, but I'm just giving you an example. So out of the 100,000, okay, they would have a percentage that they will allow refugees to come in. Okay, and it's a small percentage. Typically, they would, a country like France
Because
would.
they are not many times killed from the place where they're coming.
Exactly, because the refugees, it's a humanitarian thing that they're doing, not to kind of make sure that these guys are bringing in, they're not bringing any major talent or any professionalism or any experience or education or whatever. They're going to become a burden for the country for a number of years. So that's why countries like France and many other countries are very cautious when they bring in refugees. So it's a small percentage, probably less than 1%. Okay, so maybe if they bring in 100,000 immigrants, it's less than 1,000 people, or even about 500 people. I would probably say about 0.5% would be refugees. But in Canada, the ratios are not like that. If they bring in 100,000 immigrants every year, they bring in almost 200,000 refugees.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the unfortunate part, especially in the recent past after Mr. Trudeau took over as the Prime Minister of the country. And this appeasement politics has been going on because it's all vote bank, right? Like creating a vote bank for himself and for the Liberals. So when Syrians came in, they came in large numbers. And unfortunately, Canada, like I said, did not have the infrastructure. So they put them in hotels. And after about a year, they kicked them out. And now they're on their own. I see them begging at the street corners in downtown Toronto and in many other parts because they don't have a job. They don't have a skill to get a job. And unfortunately,
they don't want to get a job.
they don't want to get a job, maybe. I don't know. And the good thing is now that they've become Canadian citizens, they basically are allowed welfare.
And they had a lot of children many times.
And then they start producing children, and for every child they get child tax benefits and whatever, and every month they get checks like maybe $2,000-3,000, plus they get free accommodation because they get co-op housing and whatever housing, and now they're living a pretty cushy life, not even working. They make about $3,000-4,000 with their welfare, with their child tax benefits, and et cetera, and that's it. And they go to food banks and get food from there, and they're living a pretty decent life, actually. So that's the thing. But this is a burden that is going to become a huge thing, because what Canada is doing is it's waiting and watching what's going on in Palestine. Okay, and as you can see that a lot of protest rallies and stuff are being allowed in Canada because it's all appeasement politics again. And now there's a possibility that the Palestinian refugees may be coming to Canada in large numbers.
But here is a comment that is coming in. Okay, will you like to touch upon it? This seems to be Maharaj to 2006 says this seems to be a very systematic abuse of law by Canada's by merely loud mouthing and pretending to be the extempo of law. What is that? Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what Maharaj is saying is, I totally agree with him, because I'm like, on one side, Canada seems to pretend to be the epitome of law abidance. Okay, and that means that they basically can say that the Canada is one of the best countries to live in. Canada is the most peaceful country to live in, and Canada has got so many humanitarian things that are going on, and that they allow people from other countries who want to seek refuge here. They allow those kind of people to come in and things like that. But on the same token, Canada is becoming a haven for terrorists, secessionists, the lowlifes of the earth, and people who are basically derelicts and are rejects from their own countries. Okay, so these are the people who are coming into Canada, hoping and praying that they will be able to sustain with the help of the Canadian government. And Canada is actually doing that. They bring in hundreds and thousands of refugees every year from all these war-torn countries. And who knows, when these people come in here, right? We don't know whether the decent population may be coming, but along with them, there could be some terrorists as well coming in. We don't know how much security detail they go into when they bring in these refugees, right?
They will have information from 5i.
Tomorrow, yeah, exactly. Tomorrow, we are already seeing people carrying AK-47s in Canada. Tomorrow, if these guys go on a rampage, it's going to become hell here. But it's all in the name. It's all in the name of politics. It's all in the name of vote bank.
But let me ask you this, Vinay Ji. There are 57 Islamic countries around in the Middle East, and why nobody is allowing, and why Canada is allowing? What is the difference, you think? What is that they know that Canada doesn't know, or what is that Canada knows that they don't know?
Unfortunately, Middle East has been through a lot of wars. Okay. And we have seen that time and again. Okay, we have seen even countries like
and the so-called the flag bearers of Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, Turkey. Nobody will let them in.
No, that's what I mean. Turkey, for example, Azerbaijan, Syria. Syria already is in war. Lebanon is already in war, and Jordan and Iraq and Kuwait and Saudi and UAE, Yemen, Oman, Eritrea, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Sudan, Egypt, and so many of these countries are surrounding this whole Palestine-Israel borders, and then Turkmenistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and these are all countries that are mostly Islamic, and yet many of these countries are refusing and putting border posts at their borders to make sure that there are no illegal Palestinian coming into their countries, right? So the thing is, with these countries, they've kind of understood, how it's going to, like Egyptian president said, it's going to impact their what did he say? Their political and security risks significantly. And that is the reason they're not disallowing any of these Palestinian refugees to come in, because it's going to hurt their economy really bad. And first of all, keep in mind, their economy is already down in the dumps.
That economy of Canada is not on the roof. Okay, but what is that Trudeau? Is it a white man syndrome, what they call the liberal white man syndrome that he is going through, or he doesn't care for the country, or what is that really happening behind the screen?
It all bogs down to vote bank politics. I remember a few years ago, or about 2-3 years ago, one of the Syrians who had come in as a refugee named his kid Trudeau, after Justin Trudeau. And this is all, so now, which means that the guy said, why did you name him Trudeau? Because he said, you know what, it was because of Trudeau I'm in Canada here today, and I love Trudeau, and I will be a liberal voter for the rest of my life, and my kids will continue to vote for liberals, and 3, 4, 5 generations after that will continue to vote for liberals. So that's the way liberals are trying to do this, and under the leadership of Trudeau, because they want to make sure that they have enough vote bank so that they will continue to win the elections in this country, and they will continue to govern this country for eternity. That's their intent, and with that intent in mind, they've put aside the country on the back burner, but they'll put the politics and their own party in the front, because now what happens is, when these kind of people coming in, it's going to hurt the economy. First of all, don't be in any kind of a la land. Canada is in severe trouble right now. The inflation is gone up quite a bit. The interest rates has gone up quite a bit. The people here are living hand to mouth. Many people are relying on food banks for their day-to-day living, pretty much.
And food banks don't have food.
and food banks are running out of food, and then the people are basically foreclosing their houses. They're walking away from their mortgages because they're unable to pay their monthly mortgages, and the rent has gone up, through the roof. And there have been mass suicides of international students because they are unable to cope with the expenses and stuff. They're into depression. And now you're also seeing drug being a problem, and people are into drugs and opioids and all that kind of stuff. So Canada is going into serious recession.
Prostitution.
Okay,
Yeah.
serious recession. And despite that, if they are bringing in these kind of refugees who are not going to contribute to the economy, but actually they're going to drain the economy, they're going to live like parasites in Canada. And if the Canadian government is going to bring in such people, it's going to be a disaster.
But I have last two questions for you, Vinay Ji. One is, when all the so-called the NATO countries, Europe and other countries over there, the Hamas flag is banned in many of the European countries. Many times, I heard that the news is France just downloaded 70,000 plus policemen to kind of treat them, to make sure there is no get together in support of Hamas. But here in Canada, it's pro-Hamas celebrations are happening openly. And what do you say about it? If you can quickly cover that. Is this also part of the bigger picture of bringing in refugees?
No, actually, the irony is that in France and in many other countries, the government is banning pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine protests. Okay, and so basically, what's going on is it's creating a kind of an animosity between two cultures. And they don't want anything to trigger and then create more chaos and stuff in their country. So France is being extremely careful, and obviously Hamas is a terrorist organization. So if they allow these people to go around protesting, then it means that condoning the protesters, and they're condoning the terrorists. Okay, so but in Canada, it's a totally different ballgame. I mean, the other day I was in Mississauga near the Living Arts Center for something. And I saw a bunch of people. I was parked in the parking lot, and I was just sitting in the car, just waiting for some stuff. And then I just saw cars pull in behind me, next to me, whatever. And people started jumping out of the car wearing some weird headgear and stuff like that. And then they joined a rally. I suddenly heard shouting, and 200 to 300 people were coming from that Living Arts Center road, and they were heading towards the Mississauga city center. And they were shouting all kinds of stuff in Arabic, which I didn't understand. But it was a huge rally with the flags, waving flags, and pro-Hamas written on their headbands and stuff like that. And this is unfortunate. This is being allowed in Canada. And I know Canada is a forward-thinking nation and all that stuff. And in the name of freedom of speech, you're allowed to do all of this. But this is actually antagonizing another sect of people, another sect of people, which is the Jewish people, the Israelis, who also live in Canada and who actually contribute significantly to the economy. So I'll give you some statistics. Okay, the Muslim population in Canada is about 4.9%. Okay, and the Jewish population is 1.3%. All right, now the 1.3% of the Jewish population contributes almost 20% or more to the economy. Okay, and the 4.9% of the Muslims contribute less than 0.1% to the economy.
Wow. But let me say this, okay, Vinay Ji, just be realistic, okay? Have some heart, okay? Just don't slam Mr. Trudeau, okay? Just have some heart. That's my final question for you. Here you see these poor people, okay? They have been told to vacate the country, and they are roaming around, and they are not allowed into even their own so-called the Muslim brothers, who call them as brothers and who will give life, but they won't give a space for staying. Okay, but they will give a life for them, but they won't give a space for staying. Okay, they will be chased out. So where these poor people will go? If Canada, kind of big-hearted countries, and especially the leaders like Justin Trudeau, doesn't open his heart and the land for the refugees, where they will go? My final question, sir.
Don't say such bad things about Trudeau, please. He's a very nice man at heart. So
that's what I'm saying. Big-hearted man.
And he is a big-hearted man. He will bring in these refugees from Palestine, from Syria, from wherever, all the war-torn countries, and he'll continue to bring them in, and countries like Canada.
What's wrong in that? What's wrong in it? Somebody has to help them, don't they?
It's not just Canada. It's a few other countries that will continue to help them. But I'll tell you what, you have to look at the bigger picture. Yes, somebody has to help them. I agree, but you got to look at the bigger picture of Canada. I already told you that Canada and many of these other countries are in global crisis. Actually, they're in economic crisis. And if they continue bringing in these kind of people who have to live off of Canadian taxpayers' money for years, actually, because they don't bring any talent, they don't bring any education, they will not contribute to the economy. Instead, they'll be parasites of the Canadian government and Canadian economy and the Canadian taxpayers' money. Now, isn't that going to hurt the majority of the population of Canada? I mean, you're not looking at it that way. And we have to first clean up our own act here before we start helping others. I mean, it's a very simple philosophy, right? When you're in an aircraft, when the aircraft is going down because of some there was some issue on the aircraft, the first thing that the air hostess says is, first put your mask on yourself before you help others.
Wow. That's a powerful sentence out there. Thank you, Vinay Ji, for joining us and pouring your heart out on this issue. But friends, what do you think about Canada potentially opening its doors for? One thing I don't agree with Vinay Ji is the Muslims may not, as per his statistics, may not contribute as much as the Jews do, but the mosques, worship places, contribute more to the Liberal Party than any other sect. Also, that is also, yes, I agree, Vinay Ji.
I don't know exactly. Yes, they may probably be contributing quite a bit because
and also in the votes, in the number of votes.
But the most important is they don't care about how much kind of comes in terms of dollars, because Liberal Party has other means to to do the fundraising and stuff like that. But most important is the vote bank.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, friends. What do you think? Do comment and like the video, share the video, and comment your opinion. And looking forward to see you in the next video. Till then, Vinay Ji, for you too and for the viewers, Jai Jai Sri Ram, Jai Jai Sri Ram.